And then we are going to work on the same areas that we have been in this different plane. So for our self-massage today, we're going to be addressing those areas of high tension and pressure that we feel. So you will need your yoga block. You will need different sizes of massage balls. You might want to try them out today. The smallest one that's comparable to the thumb is going to be probably the most comfortable for your face. Okay. And remember, you have options here. So you can always just use your fingers if that is enough pressure and it feels too much to use this massage ball in a particular area. You can also just sit and use your hands. Okay. Another option is to lean up against the wall. If I was working on my face in any way, I would lean against the wall to not scratch my face or bump up against the wall. So we're going to use this block like a pillow. If you have longer hair, you might want to tie it back so that it doesn't get tangled. I'm going to do that quickly. And just remembering that our focus here is this sense of proprioception. So noticing what's going on the inside of our bodies. So you can lay on your side here and get in whatever position is most comfortable. If the way that I'm laying isn't comfortable to you, feel free to adjust. Okay. So I'm laying down. I put my head on this block first. Then I'll put the ball here. If I put the ball first, it might roll off. I also might not have it in the right position and it might be painful in some way. So go ahead and put it on your temple, rolling side to side, up and down, holding steady. Remember, if there's a lot of tension or pressure in an area, you can hold steady for about 30 seconds and it tends to be enough time to tell that muscle to communicate, you can relax now. So taking a big deep breath here, noticing the sensations. And then we're going to move to the jaw before we go to the other side. So just move it down to the jaw area. Again, if you're sitting up, you can use the ball in your hand. You can also lean against the wall. It might feel good to open and close the mouth here, allowing this massage ball to get a little bit deeper into those muscles. You might want to work your way up to that joint up at the bottom of the ear. I'm noticing this week a lot less tension than last week after working in these same areas every day for just a few minutes. Doesn't take long. So notice what's happening with your breath. Sometimes when we find tense areas, when we're feeling tension, we have this tendency to hold our breath. So allowing it to be gentle and smooth. And then if you would like, you can even roll that jawline. You might need to move a little bit. All right, and now we're going to do the other side. You can just roll over if you know what to do and you don't need to look at the screen. I'm going to move to the other side simply so you can see me, right? It's not necessary for you to keep moving back and forth. So again, we're going to work on temple and jaw. So the other side, the opposite side of what you started on. Maybe you already found a position that's comfortable here for you. So moving side to side, up and down, circles. Taking those long, smooth breaths. You want to close your eyes. Just enjoy a few more minutes of relaxation. And then as you're ready, moving to the jaw. You like opening the mouth, getting deeper into those muscles. Go ahead and do that on this side too. I have more tension on my right side than my left side today. So I'm just bringing more awareness to that muscle tension that I wasn't sure was there until I brought self-massage here to this area and recognized, wow, I'm really clenching on my right side. So again, you might want to move up the base of the ear where that joint is. You might want to roll the jawline, finding the places where you need to work. That's where to spend your time. Okay, taking one more breath, breathing in deeply and exhaling completely. We are now going to move to the neck. And for this, you can use a single ball or you can use them in the tote. If you want less pressure, using 2 at one time is going to do that. And we'll use this block as a pillow. So you're going to lay back in constructive rest. So that position is just laying on your back with your knees bent, soles of the feet on the floor, knees pointing up toward the ceiling. And then, like I mentioned, you can just use one. So I'm going to put this underneath and I can move and I can get a little bit deeper into those muscles, especially up into the occipital ridge, that base of the skull. But if you want less pressure, put both balls in the tote, and then you're going to lay back and you can just roll side to side. So see what you prefer. And on different days, you might have different preferences. Okay. And you might be noticing I'm pulling things out of this cart. I keep all of my tools really handy to the place I'm going to use them. That's going to ensure that I actually remember. I keep a set of these balls in different areas of my house. So if I'm going to be watching TV, just kind of chilling, I have these things accessible and I can just lay down and use them while I'm doing something else. Okay. So just moving around in whatever way feels good here on your neck. I found a spot where I'm really holding steady, trying to let my body know it's okay to release the tension in this area. Sometimes taking a big deep breath and letting a sigh out through the mouth is helpful. Focusing on the areas where you need the most attention. And for me today, at the base of my skull is really that area. Now, I mentioned that I was noticing some tension in my jaw. Well, think about the location. That's just the opposite side. So if you're clenching your jaw, you're probably also going to have tense muscles at the back of the head, the occipital ridge or the base of the skull. Okay. So releasing that, you can stay laying down. You don't have to keep getting up as I'm showing the transitions. That's up to you. At this time, you're going to have your block. You can just set that aside. I prefer, we're going to do the trapezius muscles here. So if you remember when we were sitting, it looked like this. When we were against the wall, we took our massage balls and we placed them as high up as we could at the shoulders and the back in order to be able to press them against the wall and feel some pressure in that upper back, the trapezius muscle area. And that's a trapezoid shape. It goes across the shoulder and then the shoulder blade. So it is quite a large muscle. If you carry things a lot, you tend to have a lot of tension here. Also, I see a lot of people walking around like this, a lot of tension going on in the shoulder and neck area. So it's starting to bring some more awareness throughout the day. If your shoulders are up by your ears, letting them drop down. If you're clenching your jaw, bringing your tongue away from the roof of the mouth, creating some space. That's going to make a huge difference in all of these areas. Having good posture, sitting up tall is going to be helpful too. And I just want to remind you, we haven't used this gorgeous ball yet formally in class, but I keep this really deflated and I have been using it as I'm working at my desk, when I'm teaching virtually, when I'm working on office work. I just, even in the car and traveling, but as soon as you put this behind your low back, it provides this lumbar support. It's also a reminder that your body will immediately improve its posture. So just knowing that you have that as a resource. Okay, so here's an opportunity where you might want to switch to that medium-sized ball, which is like the pressure of the elbow. The longer I use the self-massage balls, the longer I have these experiences with really identifying what's going on inside of my body, it seems the more tolerance I have for sensation. And so I need a little bit more pressure. So I'm going to use the medium size. You can feel free to use the smaller ones if that's most comfortable for you. Okay. Remember, have your block handy here. So we'll be in that same position of constructive rest, but this time taking those balls, like we said, putting them up as high up as you can. I'll turn this way for a minute just so you can see that. So then I can lift up my hips and I have more pressure here. So the other option is to have that block and put it underneath you. So I'll show you what that looks like. Let me straighten my mat. Okay, starting again. So taking those, putting them under the tops, your shoulders in the back. And then if you would like, you can lift the hips up for more pressure here. If that is too much, that block can be helpful to just slide it right under your sacrum. And that's going to give you a little bit more pressure. You can also turn this block. This is the lowest height. You could turn it on its second height and send it under 2 if that wasn't enough. Okay, either way, or you can go without it. Okay, then the next option is to lift and lower. You can also stay lifted. The next thing you can do is up and down with your arms and see how that affects the feeling. You can combine that as well. So you can lift all the way up, arms and hips, all the way down. Okay. So just doing whatever feels good to you here. Releasing those muscles, maybe even moving up a little, up and down a little bit, kind of chugging back and forth might feel nice. Staying still if you're feeling a lot of pressure. It takes about 30 seconds to let your brain know you can release that muscle now. The tension can be released. So taking a big deep breath, inhaling deeply, exhaling, lowering, releasing those balls, just laying here for a moment, noticing how you're feeling. And then we're going to move on to the upper right quadrant of the back. So you can either use that medium or small, thinking about the shoulder blade. We did this up against the wall just last week. So choosing whichever size feels right to you. You can always switch. You're in that whatever position that you can, right side first, and I'll turn the other way for you. And then you just kind of wiggle around. You might move your arm. You might roll from side to side, just figuring out how to get into that area that is tense for you. This might be one of those times when you may want to move to the wall. It's totally up to you. See if you can find the inside of that shoulder blade. I know I have a lot of tension there in between the spine and the shoulder blade. My backpack from all of my hiking has been taking a toll. Just figuring out it for you, is it more toward the spine? Is it the shoulder area, the shoulder blade. Where are you feeling the most sensation? As you're ready, moving to the left side. You can stay just where you are. Noticing if it's different on this side. I'm hearing some cracking and popping here that I didn't on the first side. So you notice. And then some things to think about are, which side are you carrying things on? Children, bags. And as you know, I've been encouraging all of my teachers to leave their work at home. If you're not going to do it at home, don't take it home. If you don't open your bag, stop carrying it. And if you do, maybe thinking about a different way to transport your supplies so that it's not taking this toll on your body. Taking one more deep breath. Releasing. And then go ahead and work on the low back. And so here, I like to use that medium-sized ball. The small one might work for you. And same thing, it's just an exploration. What's going on in that low back? For me, right at the base of the rib cage, the QL muscle, the quadratus lumborum, is always pretty tender. So I tend to concentrate there. You might find that you have more tension maybe toward the spine. Maybe like me, it's closer to the rib cage. So just explore. What are you noticing today? And if you try one massage ball and you're not feeling a lot of sensation, try using a bigger one. If you're using one and it's too much, try using a smaller ball or two at once. So both sides of that low back. Noticing the difference on each side. Checking back in with your breath. And then releasing, just taking a moment in that constructive rest position, checking in. And then if you have your gorgeous ball handy, why don't you grab it? We just have a couple minutes left here. I want to show you something. So mine is pretty deflated right now from sitting in my chair with it behind me. I never use it fully inflated. It's not really intended for that. But if you see, you have a straw in your bag. If you haven't gotten it out, just open it now. You can use that straw. I use my mouth. No one else touches this but me. It's not hard to blow it up. And so I'm going to do about 3/4 of the way full. And this is something that you can do in your chair or you can do on the floor. You could probably do it in your bed. I don't think that you would need to have a really hard surface to be able to do this. I don't think the other self-massage balls would work in a bed, but I think that the gorgeous ball would. So we're just going to do a chest opener, laying back on the mat like this with the ball in the center of the back, okay? The center of the upper back. So if you were in a chair, you would just put it in that place and then take your arms back. But on the floor, I will show you in that same constructive rest position. You might have to move a little bit to adjust. And then taking the arms out. So I'm going to move it a little bit down and you'll know when it's in the right place. It feels like the opposite of what we're normally doing, right? So we're hunched over, we're looking at technology. Moving mine down just a little bit more so it's behind the rib cage. So just find the spot where you'll know when it feels like a big relief, like there's a stretch across the upper back and the upper chest and the arms. Taking one more deep breath, inhaling deeply, exhaling completely. As you're ready, gently taking that ball out, laying back, closing your eyes for a moment and just check in with how you're feeling. There's a lot of focus on physical sensation today. So notice, what does your what do your temples feel like now? And your jaw, your neck, your shoulders, and your back. What's different than before we began? And what could you take with you into your week? Remember, it just takes a couple of minutes a day to really make a big difference in our stress levels. Maybe you can find some time for self-massage while you're doing something else. Maybe having a conversation, you're in a meeting, watching something on TV. Lots of opportunities, traveling, keeping a set with you at all times in case you have an opportunity, maybe watching a kid's game. So thank you for taking this time for you. So incredibly important that we learn to manage our stress, fill our own cup first, putting the oxygen mask on first so that we have the energy, we have the attention, we have the love to give to those people in our lives that we care about.